I've been working for, as you said in your opening remarks, on this issue of political lying, of deliberate deception by in politics for close on 20 years. And the focus for the legislation that we have introduced through an amendment to a bill last year, but more recently, as a result of that, we got, as you said, a government pledge to introduce legislation which focuses really on not on advertising per se, but this would be complementary to that because it focuses on any statement which purports to be a statement of fact, but which is deliberately misleading by existing members of the parliament or indeed candidates as well. So the Welsh government has made a commitment to introduce legislation which will create a process whereby any member or candidate for the parliament that is found guilty of deliberate deception through an independent judicial process will be automatically disqualified. So if they're an existing member, they'll get disqualified from the parliament, but also if they're a candidate as well, they'll be barred from standing for a certain period of time. Some of the key elements there, it has to be an independent process and an independent judicial process because we don't want one group of politicians really sitting in judgment on another group of politicians. That wouldn't be fair. So we believe that the courts well set up to deal with issues of truth or deception in other contexts, and so we have fraud, don't we, in the sort of financial or commercial context. There is well-established processes and rules and norms whereby there can be a proper independent process in order to decide whether somebody is deliberately set out to deceive. It's important to stress everyone makes mistakes. I've made hundreds of them. I'm sure, Ian, every politician is going to make mistakes, honest mistakes. We're not about dealing with that. It's about actually knowing something is false and setting out consciously, deliberately to present, something that is a lie for political purposes. We've set out in the amendment that we got passed, and in all the discussions with the government, we believe it's important that people should have the opportunity, if they've got something wrong, quite simply to say, "Oh, right, somebody's presenting new facts, etc. That clearly was wrong. Therefore, I'm withdrawing this." So this isn't about catching people. Most people who make honest mistakes, etc., we're talking about the minority of deliberate liars that are, setting out to misuse the political process, to deceive the public, and to deny the public, what Thomas Jefferson, back in the American Revolution said that there's a basic right of a public in a democracy to have accurate information. Otherwise, democracy can't function. So the government today in Wales is announcing its programme for government. And, this legislation, I'm sure, will be part of that programme. It should be passed in the next 9 months. So, Wales will have I think one of the first attempts to regulate statement by individual candidates, which is a really useful, I think, complement to the wider reform of political advertising